Okay, so we're into lesson number 9, and this is a revision exercise. So this is where you do need to follow alongside, just to practice everything we've been looking at and to understand how to do the tasks we've understood. So let's start off with a really simple one. Let's click on the Start button and find Excel. Start up Excel. We're going to work with a blank workbook, so I'm going to click on blank, and I'm now taken to the blank workbook. And just before we slow down a little bit, I'm going to go to File. Doesn't matter, remember, it doesn't matter if I go to Save or Save As. I'm going to just click on Save. It will take me to Save As, and I'm still in Excel Lessons, so I'm going to click on Excel Lessons, and I'm going to call this one Times Table Square. It doesn't matter if you have capitals or not. It doesn't matter if you spell times table square wrong. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter if you put spaces in or don't put spaces in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you call your worksheet rhinoceros. It just won't make any sense. But calling it times table square, don't panic if you haven't spelt square correctly or anything else. It doesn't matter. Just that the name has some relevance. And I'm going to click on Save. Now remember, my version of Excel is connected to the cloud, to the internet, so my version automatically puts on autosave. And just so that I can make sure that you are able to follow through and that you're not left with a spreadsheet that you can't close because I haven't shown you how to, I'm going to switch off autosave. There it is, times table square, saved. Here we are on this worksheet. Our workbook has one worksheet and the millions of cells. So what we're going to do first is we're going to alter the width of our columns, and I want to do that for the whole sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this little square there, remember that one, and I'm going to click with the left mouse button to select the entire sheet. Then what I'm going to do is any of these lines between, it doesn't matter which, but any of them, I'm going to click and I'm going to alter them so that the pixels says 50 pixels. Just like that. I don't care about the 6.43, I'm looking at the 50 pixels, and that's fine. I'm going to let go of the left hand mouse button and everything's fine. I'm then going to go down here and I'm going to do the same thing with the rows, but obviously I'm going to alter their height, and I'm going to again take that to 50. So because pixels define the screen size, 50 pixels high by 50 pixels wide, I'm now going to let go of the left hand mouse button. I'm going to end up with squares everywhere. Now that's really neat. That's what I want. Now what I also want to do is I'm going to want a group of cells, 11 cells by 11 cells. So what I'm going to do is click there, and remember I'm going to look at this name box. So click there, hold the mouse button down, drag down and across until that says 11R by 11C, 11 rows by 11 columns, and I'm going to let go. So I've now selected those cells. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the border tool, but I'm not going to click on the border button. I'm going to click on the drop down to its right. Click and the menu drops down. I'm going to go all the way down and I've got more borders. I'm going to click on more borders. I'm going to make sure that the style I've got is this one here, just the thin line. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to do the outline, that's all the outside, and the inside. Now obviously I could have just done insert all borders, but I want you to get used to using this tool. Click on OK. I'm now going to click away, and I've got a 11 by 11 grid of squares which have got borders on. And if I now go to page layout and I take the grid lines view out, I can see that that stands out when there's no other grid lines there. So that's everything we've looked at so far. We've widened the columns, we've increased the height of the rows, and we've altered the the borders of the cells so that we've got a nice grid there. I've also hidden the grid lines, which I'm going to bring back for the moment because we want to reference those. Now, a new trick we haven't done before is down here. This says sheet 1. Not very informative. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on that word, sheet 1. Double click, that means click with the left hand mouse button quite rapidly. 1, 2. Notice it's gone grey. Now what a lot of people will do is then press delete or anything else, but because it's all grey, because it's all selected, I just need to start typing. I don't need to press delete or backspace or anything else. All I need to do is times table square. Press enter, and that's now the name of my worksheet. Yes, it's the same name as my workbook, but that's fine. I'm only going to have one sheet on here. So that's a trick we haven't learnt. There's a new one. Name the sheets, which we'll do a lot more of later on. So I've now got a grid 11 by 11, but I don't want this one. So easy enough. Go to home, click on the drop arrow and choose no border. But now I've got a really horrible missing section there, and if I hide the grid view, it just looks odd. So several ways I can solve that. One is to obviously go in there and tell it outside border there, or the other way is to again get used to using the more borders and just tell it I want a border there. And now we've got this nice cutout showing us our grid, and we're going to make much more use of this in the next revision exercise. See, it wasn't that bad. But before we go, we've got one more thing to do. We're going to go File, Save. I'm going to check up here, times table square. You might have seen it flash up with saving, times table square, saved. I can now go to the X, or I could go to close. Close is going to close the spreadsheet, but I might want to click on the X to close Excel. That's it for the revision exercise. In the next one, we're going to start looking at adding data to our spreadsheet. So, see you in the next video.